We are going to be looking at a problem from section 5.1. This is problem number 3, and in this particular problem we are going to be using our calculator to graph a function and then using what we have there to find some values and looking at the graph to determine a few other things. And so this is a little bit of an introduction to using the calculator with the exponential functions. To do this, the first thing we're going to do is turn on the calculator, and then we are going to put into the calculator our function. Our function here is going to be f of x equals e to the x, and this is on our calculator. If you can see above the ln key, we have e to the x in yellow. So I'm going to do second, and then e to the, and then we're going to put in the x, and this is the function. Now to graph this on the appropriate window, we're going to adjust our window, and it asks for the x values to be from -5 to 5. It asks for the y values to be from -10 to +30. So let's go down to 30. And that's quite a wide range here. I made a mistake here. I have to leave this here to be 1 yet. And this has to be the -10, and so hopefully you can learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make them all yourself. And the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the scale to 2. If you look at the difference between the y max and the y min, 30 minus a -10 is the same thing as 30 plus 10 is going to be 40. This would give me 40 tick marks if I leave my x scale to be 1. So I'm going to change my x scale to be 2 so there's not quite so many marks. Now we can press graph, and this would then be a graph of this function. Notice that we're not seeing much back in here because of the resolution. This is the graph, and this completes part A of the problem. To do part B of the problem, I'm going to use my calculator, and I'm going to hit trace. And one of the things that asks for is f of 1. Well, if I just press 1 here, it's going to give me my x value to be 1. When I hit enter, it tells me my y value. I'm going to set up the pointer here so I can write down the answers. And using now the pointer, I can tell you then that my f of 1, I'm going to put my value here. This is going to be about 2.718. And this is accurate then to 3 decimal places. For f of -1, I'm still in the trace menu here, and so I'm going to put in -1, and when I hit enter, it gives me a value here for the -1. I'm going to have 0 point, and we have 368. And remember, we're rounding these off to 3 decimal places. To do f of 4, I'm going to press 4, and then enter. And that gave me an answer this time of, we have 54.598. And so these are my answers for part B. Again, the first thing I did was I hit trace, and once I hit trace, I can put in the x value that we want and come up with our answer. For part B, C of this, it asks what is a horizontal asymptote, and if you look at this graph, let me just use the trace here. If you trace this along, you can see that what we're getting values here. As I go to the left, I'm getting values that are smaller and smaller, so my y value is getting closer and closer to 0. And so what's happening is that my horizontal asymptote is going to be the line y equals 0, or if you prefer, you can just call that the x-axis. And so this is the answer for part C. Finally, it asks for the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, since I'm in trace, if I hit 0, if the x value is 0, that's going to give me points on the y-axis. And so I have here that my y-intercept is going to be the ordered pair 0, 1. That's the way many people would prefer that we give y-intercepts as an ordered pair of point. Our textbook is just using simply the y value of 1. And so either of these two answers would be correct. This then completes our problem number 3 from section 5.1.